Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at creepy stories. Yeah, let's just get right into the video. So, I used to go out clubbing with my friends often. Many times we'd take a drive to a far out city for the night or weekend. Anyway, we'd been planning to go to a specific city on an upcoming weekend, which neither myself nor my friends have ever been to before. It was a city about 4 hours drive away, and not some place you'd associate with us traveling to. During that week, I visited my dad and mum at the family home, and my dad in all seriousness tells me at the dining table about a dream he had, in which he had been called by the police of the city I'm traveling to on the weekend, saying that I'd died in a car crash. It was obvious that he'd been affected by this dream, as never ever has he mentioned anything like this before or expressed any fear for my personal safety. He's a pretty stoic person who isn't given to sentiment easily. Now please bear in mind that I'd not mentioned to my dad about my upcoming travels, and there's no way he would have found out from anyone else. When he told me this story, I didn't say much other than something like, okay, that's a weird dream. I didn't let on to him about my planned travels, but inside I was shook up by the coincidence. So much that I cancelled my trip and vowed never to visit the city, just in case death is waiting for me there in some final destination type of way. Good. Honestly, sometimes dreams are a premonition. Like, it could happen. So it's better to be safe than sorry, yeah, for sure. I would definitely take it quite seriously too if it normally comes from someone who doesn't believe in this type of thing, but for some reason one day they're like, I think it's bad. Yeah, you should take that advice. 4 times in my life, I've had dreams that I can only describe as premonitions. I'm a skeptic, and I still like to mostly believe that what I've experienced is pure coincidence, otherwise it creeps me out too much. These dreams are hyper-realistic and very specific. Usually I wake up from them in an intense need to immediately poop. The first one I had, I saw my good friend hanging out with some of his friends. They were planning to go to party and decided to carpool. He gets into the back seat of a blue 4-door sedan just behind the passenger. The car gets into a terrible accident and he's ejected from the car as he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He dies on the side of the road before first responders can get to him. I woke up, barely made it to the bathroom, and my whole body was shaking. I didn't want to call him and felt like a complete idiot even thinking of calling him, but couldn't shake the feeling this was about to happen. So I call him, tell him the details, and ask that if he goes out that night to please wear his seatbelt. He confirmed they were going to a club that night, but otherwise laughed it off and was like whatever. About an hour later he calls me, hysterical crying and repeating that I saved his life. When he calmed down, he said that soon after the call, his friends pulled up to pick him and others up. One had a brand new blue Honda Civic and they motioned him to jump into. He felt stupid, but he told him he actually go in the other friend's car. On the way to the club, while crossing a busy intersection, someone blew a red light and T-boned the Civic, dead on the back passenger side. The car was totaled. The driver and passenger survived, but with serious injuries they still deal with today. Again, I want to believe it was just a coincidence, but I've had a few more coincidental dreams like this and it seriously freaks me out when it happens. And this is what I'm saying. See, that's so scary. But such a smart thing that he switched cars because he was like, wait, my friend told me about the blue car and this car is blue. So he did believe it. He did believe it a little bit, but also he wasn't too sure until it happened. Isn't that scary? I mean, yeah, good thing this person even like told him all the details and the color of the car and stuff. Because I think if they didn't tell him the color of the car, he wouldn't believe it as much. But since it was such a coincidence that even the car was blue, he was like, that's a bit odd. I'm not gonna take my chances. I was in a movie theater with my grandma as a little kid, like 10 years old. And we were in the back row, and halfway through the movie, this random guy sits down 1 seat away from me. And I have this really vivid memory of him walking his fingers, like when you pretend your fingers are legs. I don't know how else to describe it. Oh, like this. Yo! Across the folded seat between us while grinning at me. And I was just kind of weirded out and scooted closer to my grandma, and then I got distracted by the movie, and the next time I looked over, he was gone. It's such a bizarre memory, I have a hard time believing it happened, but I remember it so clearly, and even what movie it was, and then everything that happens afterwards still creeps me out. That's freaking creepy, yeah. Why would he do that? Right? He's just traumatizing a kid. He was literally like that and then smiling and gritting evilly. Ew, disgusting. I was walking home from middle school probably around age 12 to 13. I lived in a pretty small town, and for quite a bit the walk home was on the grassy side of this tiny main road that ran out of town towards my house. As I was approaching a train crossing, I heard a car coming up the road towards me from behind. I had no reason to believe it was any different than any other car that passed by me, but something made me turn around and look. There was an old car driving through the grass directly towards me, with the driver white knuckling the wheel and staring at me with this level of hate on his face I'd never seen before or since. I managed to jump out of the way into the nearby field and the car swerved back onto the road and drove off. If it had been somebody not paying attention, that'd be one thing, but this dude was absolutely gunning for me and I have no clue who he was or why it happened. It's been almost 30 years and hearing a car approaching from behind still sets me on the edge. What? Some random guy wanted to run a kid over? For what reason? Oh my gosh, so many sickos in this world. When I was 8 years old, I was playing in my room in my parents' house when I heard a closet door open in another room. I thought I was alone upstairs, so I went in to check who was there. And when I walked into the room, I saw a little boy, younger than I was at the time, standing in the middle of the room. I shouted at him, "Hey you," but there was no movement. I ran downstairs and my mum, who heard me yell, came upstairs with me, but there was nobody in the room. To this day, I wonder what it was. Oh my gosh, a ghost boy living in the closet. See, this is why so many kids are afraid of closets, because all the ghosts are just hanging out in there. One night, I was up reading when my radio turned on full volume without me touching it. I turned it off and fell asleep without much thought. The middle of the night, I woke up to the abrupt sound of my radio turning on again and shuffling channels. I unplugged the radio and quickly felt uneasy about how it happened. I then began to have an overwhelming feeling I was being watched, so I hid under the blankets like a typical middle schooler. There was then a faint tapping on my bedroom window, which basically had me at full-scale flight or fight mode. When I looked at the window, it was completely fogged over except mouth prints outside. I ran to my sister's room like a bat out of hell and begged to sleep next to her that night. Mouth prints? Yo! A few days later, I came home from school to a bunch of cop cars outside my neighbor's house. Turns out the guy next door was cutting down a tree when he fell off his ladder onto his axe. His son found his body days later, but no one could get a hold of him. His body was a feet away from my bedroom window. What? What? Wait, I don't get it. So what were the mouth prints? Like what? Like was that his spirit lingering around? Yo, that is scary. Oh my goodness. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.